Hey, what's going on, Purple People podcast fans? Welcome to this week's show. It's Monday, May 6, 2019. Glad to be joined, as always, by Kyle West. What's going on, brother?
Hey, not a lot. I'm excited to be here and talk about Vikings football.
That's right. Last but not least, Adam Carlson is here with us as well. What's up, dude?
I'm here. I'm ready to talk some Vikings football. I'm sad once again that we are without Dorian Foley, but he is on assignment.
Yeah.
Top secret.
Well, he'll report back to us when it's not G14 classified.
That's right.
Smith, you got to show off your shirt. Show off the T-shirt.
Oh, yeah. I own a Kirk Cousins shirt. It's a dead arm dance. It says dad mode, which is appropriate. Being a dad and all. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I love that. That was my favorite Kirk Cousins highlight from last year. That wasn't like a throw or a touchdown or something.
Check down.
Oh, God. I wasn't going to say anything too bad about that. I actually defended him. Before we get into like the show title, I actually defended him on social media this weekend, and I found myself like feeling good about what he said, but also I wanted to punch myself in the face because I was like, we were 8-7-1. Like, he has a lot to do with this. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I make fun of him a lot, but the expectations are high, and I really do like Kirk Cousins.
I think the flip experiment was the whole problem with that whole season. That, yeah, and of course, the death from the offensive line coach, of course. Mm-hmm. The offense just could not get things together.
Well, the post on Instagram from an unnamed page, because I won't give them popularity, even though they were really nice and chatty and debating with me back instead of being just a total, doofus about it. So it's Kirk Cousins, the most overpaid player, and I was like, what? No. And then another post in the story was, is he most overrated? And I was like, well, how is he overrated? It's like they failed to go to the playoffs. They were in the NFC Championship the year before. So you have to break down stuff like that to people. Like, every year X number of teams will change. So we were bound to be one of them, or maybe fall into them. But talk about the O-line was terrible. We didn't run the ball for 3/4 of the season. All that stuff. I was like, I don't think it follows on Captain
Most overpaid quarterback is definitely Jimmy Garoppolo right now.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to earn. And even if it wasn't him, you could definitely argue Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Whatever Eli Manning is thinking is probably too much.
Who did you say, Kyle?
Eli Manning.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to open that can of worms. Welcome to the Purple People podcast, where we shit on Eli Manning this week.
It's been the last couple weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been like a month straight of, why is he still playing? This is episode number 340.
Hey, 3 more years, guys. 3 more years of Eli.
No, and they're never going to fire Dave Gettleman because they never get rid of GMs. Like, never.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's their problem. You guys can bottom feed in the NFC East. This is episode number 346 of the Purple People podcast, Trading Not So Well. So that's pretty funny. Wait, was this a Laquon Treadwell shot?
Yeah.
Is that what this was?
Everything is a shot at Laquon.
I wanted Laquandry, but that one didn't work too well, I don't think.
Is it supposed to be trading or treading?
Treading.
All right, treading not so well. I had an E in there. Sorry. I won't throw anybody under the bus because I don't know who typed it.
Oh. We do have some people in the chat here hanging out with us, though. Welcome to Michael Cambria. We've got Sean Reynolds. We've got David Bade. And we got some others lurking. So it's nice to have some people with us here in the chat.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys have joined us. Thank you for putting up with our stupid nonsense to start the show off. We kind of gave away the main topic.
I like our stupid nonsense.
Oh, God. It's like what holds this show together. It's the glue that keeps us going, Mm-hmm. This old rusty car that somehow fires up to get you to work barely on time so you don't get fired. That's what we do here. We'll get you through the weeks until the season starts. But as we were talking about the main topic today, we'll talk about Laquon Treadwell and what his future looks like. But first, let's do some quick hits. Adrian Peterson was inducted into the Texas High School Hall of Fame. Not really shocking or surprising. He's kind of a cornerstone of Texas football, being from there.
He's also returning to Minnesota soon for his 2-day training camp where he takes in some kids for 2 days and shows them the ropes with football, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
A lot of people don't realize that he still comes up to Minnesota for stuff like that. So
I didn't know.
Throw a reminder like that.
I didn't know that he did that still. At least not here in Minnesota. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, it makes sense. He had a lot of a decade here, so
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, he knows that when it's all said and done, he'll be a Viking. Like retiring a Viking.
If he wants to. I mean, I know that he still has bad blood for it, and I don't really understand why, but, it's his decision to make, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah. That one always leaves me kind of confused. I'm with you, Adam, but hey, it's good luck to him. I'm sure that
yeah, congrats to him on that. I mean, Texas High School Hall of Fame. It's not a surprise. It's something that I didn't know existed, but since it does, he's definitely going in there. I know Texans take their football seriously, at least college and definitely high school, I guess.
Yeah, and just from hearing around, because Texas is so big, I've driven across that state a few times. Seeing how big it is, they take it so seriously there. But some of those stadiums are better than the college stadiums I've seen around the country. It's crazy, $1 million stadiums for high school football. But nonetheless, congrats to AP, and yeah, it's cool to have him in here in the notes in a positive light. We'll always give him a shout out.
True.
This is pretty cool. My favorite Viking of all time, John Randall, gave his thoughts on the 2019 Minnesota Vikings, and he said, I look for our offensive line to improve this year, and I look for us to go into the playoffs. I'm looking forward to seeing us play better and looking forward to having a successful 2019 season. I don't care that that's some cookie-cutter quarterback interview talk. I like it because John Randall said it. So I hope he's right.
John Randall's never really been one to speak highly when he didn't believe it. He's a pretty honest guy, and I think that if he felt like this was a rebuilding season for the Vikings, he'd say it. Or if it was a season where they need to come together, I firmly believe he would say that. So, I take his word that he truly believes this. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of reason to think otherwise. Yeah, it might take the team a little while to get used to a new blocking scheme, new offensive scheme, but the defense is going to stay the same. And as soon as that offense can get clicking, I think that this Vikings team is going to be really, really good, and I'm hoping that it can be sometime in the first few weeks. I'm hoping that's all it takes to get things together. And then John Randall will be absolutely right.
Yeah, I'm with John with the additions we've talked about many times. We'll try to keep it to a minimum with the additions of Kubiak and then having a different way of and mode of thinking as far as the offense goes. Because this has been a defensive centric team for the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know if this is Mike Zimmer's 5th or 6th season. This is
5th. We were talking about that before the show. So it's coming into year number 5 for Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, I expect him to be here another 5, if not longer than that, just based off of what he's given us. It's been such a defensive-centric shift in the way everything rolls. So I'm not
complaining. Is he entering year 6?
Is he?
And then year 5 entering 6, right?
Let me count.
I thought this was year 5.
We had the Teddy year 7-9, Teddy year 11-5, Sam Bradford 8-8, Case Keenum year last year. Yeah, he's entering. This would be going into his 6th then. Yeah, that's crazy. I thought it was year 5 just for some weird reason, but yeah, it's been miss the playoffs, miss playoffs, miss. So we're due to make it again if the history is going to repeat itself. Hopefully that'll make John Randall and the rest of the fan base happy. But yeah, it's those little moves. We've been talking about it on the show, pre-draft and then up into the draft. All the little moves make, and it's cool because, like Adam said, if there's a Viking legend talking about this, yeah, they're gonna be happy and talking about the team, but they'll give you an honest opinion. I love John Randall for what you said because he doesn't really sugarcoat stuff. He's never been that guy that's been like, I'm just gonna be the yes man and be the corporate guy. He's like, no, I'm gonna tell you if this sucks, and if he believes in it, that should give everybody else a little bit of hope to believe in it too.
I am unreasonably excited about Alexander Madison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I shouldn't be as excited about that kid as I am, but I am. I'm hyped.
I like it too. Like, if you could think about it as far as somebody in the last 5 years up to now, who do you compare him to? His NFL counterpart that he's comparison to. Who does he remind you?
Jerome Bettis.
Only not as hefty.
Well, the reason why I picked Bettis is because Bettis wasn't really a home run hitter either, and he always fought for those extra yards. So that's who I was going with.
Yeah, of course, unfortunately, I went with the shitty joke there, and Adam had some really good comparisons. But that's cool.
That's usually how it works.
Digging for the cheap laugh. No, I said that too. I think last week. I think watching the effort that kid plays with, how can he not be excited, man? He's just plowing through people, and he's like, you know what? I got 6 yards and a first down, but God damn it, I'm going to give us 7 just because I can.
And future Pro Football Hall of Famer is going to have his number retired, number 84, Irv Smith Jr.
That's right.
Good.
I'm so surprised that article didn't get more backlash just for that last statement. Could you guys imagine the number 84 being retired for Irv Smith Jr.? That would be
amazing.
Okay.
That'd be a good problem. Hey, that would be a good problem to have.
Expert level trolling right there.
I would absolutely love that. That means we did lots of good things, and he had an amazing career here. So let's hope for that. All right, going on to these quick hits. Vikings held rookie mini camp on Friday. Taking part in mini camp were 30 players who already have a spot on the Vikings roster and 37 different players that are hopeful to earn a spot on the team's final roster for training camp. This was cool. If you follow the Vikings on social media like I do, you see all these guys, like, it's so fun to watch. And I'm not making fun of them at all, but you get to see how giddy they are. Versus like when Favre was here and going through his final years, he's like, fuck that. I don't want to go to camp. These guys are so happy. They've all changed their Instagram profile pictures to like training camp or official photos in their jerseys. And it's just cool to see them happy to get out there and just to like play some sort of ball or go through some kind of drill. So this is cool.
Now, remember, the Vikings are at max capacity on their roster, so that means if they do sign one of these players at tryouts, they will have to get rid of one of the guys they signed as an undrafted free agent or another player on the roster. So there will be a transaction if they end up signing one.
And I read somewhere, and I'm sure it's from one of these off-brand Instagram accounts because everybody's an expert and knows all the inside scoop when they have no sources. But the Vikings are they're never mind. I'm not even going to say it. Let's say they're great influencers on social media, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go that route. I think they're under $1 million now total with cap space, which is terrifying, but somehow like, holy shit, how did we make it this far?
Well, with some of the magic they've been able to do with Thielen's extension and Barr's contract, it's amazing they're able to fit all that in. That's what's crazy. But yeah, right now they're left at about 871,000. So if they do sign one of these undrafted players that try to at rookie minicamp, they probably won't be in the top 51 contracts, so they won't count against the team's salary cap. It's when you sign a player that has a little bit extra to their salary when it ends up hurting. So those transactions won't hurt against the cap at all unless there's guaranteed money involved in them.
Can we just talk about this for a minute? Because it just dawned on me. And this is something for you guys that are regulars on the show that are watching with us now. And try to find some interesting, weird stuff to talk about, just modeling it off of shows that I like and the guys that get paid like shitloads of money to do this for a living. But isn't it crazy how, if you take the Seahawks, for example, let's talk about Russell Wilson for a second, and how he got a contract, in my opinion, that he rightfully earned, which is a shitload of money because he is the Seahawks. They did have the Legion of Boom when he was a rookie, and they won a Super Bowl, or in his rookie contract, rather, not when he was in his rookie season. But they had the Legion of Boom. They had all these like staple defensive guys they were paying tons of money towards, and then they were like, well, we got to start moving these guys around or kicking them out because we're going to have to pay Russell. He's incredible. Isn't it crazy how the new formula, and what I was getting to is, the new formula of the NFL is get a really badass rookie use them for 4 or 5 years, build a shitload of good players around them, and try to win a championship. The Vikings are doing this the complete opposite way, and I really do think I don't think they've changed the game as far as the salary cap goes. I think New England has figured that out pretty well. But
I think the Vikings have to do it this way because they can't draft a quarterback anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, true, but they have we have arguably, if not the best, we have a top 3 to 4, 5 at the worst roster. You have all these blue chip players, the Pro Bowl caliber players at all these spots, and then you're still paying a quarterback $84 million and $28 million a year. Isn't that crazy? Because that's not the model that is going around the NFL right now.
Oh, absolutely not. Older players are getting replaced by younger players when the younger player is definitely even an inferior model, but it's because of the salary cap. And that's the only real reason why. Fans clamoring for that Kyle Rudolph isn't worth his money anymore because the Vikings have Irv Smith Jr. now. Who's to say Irv Smith Jr. is even going to work out?
That's so true. And the other part, too, is you got to think is we're very, very and I don't know if this might be more detrimental than it would be helpful, but we're very loyal to the guys that want to be here. We'll pay them handsomely, but nothing too crazy. And we keep all these guys around for a longer and longer. There's a lot of teams, like the Rams are a great example. They're just going to go out and rent a bunch of fucking guys that are mercenaries for 1 year and hope it works out. And they made a Super Bowl out of it.
It almost worked.
Yeah, and they were 10 points away. Oh, I didn't even want to take a shot because they only scored a field goal, but they got there, and it's on that model. But I just thought it was crazy just thinking about it now, talking about money and numbers and cap space, and how the Vikings are kind of doing their own thing, and it's kind of against the grain compared to what most people are trying to do, or at least what I think is the trendy way to make a team work out. Because there's a lot more of these rookie guys on rookie contracts at the quarterback position right now than there are, veterans.
And you see other teams trying to do the same thing. The Lions, even though they drafted Matt Stafford and are paying him continuously and didn't pick him up as a free agent or anything, the way they've been trying to surround him with talent through the draft and free agency has not had even close to the level of success Minnesota has. And I think that says a lot for both Rick Spielman, the scouts, and the organization as a whole with Minnesota, how they've been able to bring players in. And Minnesota's actually become a bit of a destination for some players. They feel this is a place where they can come and they can try to get their championship done. And I know that younger players might not care so much about that, but those older players who are trying to get their ring, who are still quite effective players, can go to those teams and try to get their ring. But you're not going to see that happen with Detroit. Other franchises like that, they aren't going to get those opportunities. Minnesota's in a very special place right now.
I think the other part, too, is you got to tip your hat to ownership. We'll get out of this fucking thing that I started us on and go to the next weekend. But I think it all comes down to is the technology. Look at the stadium. It's only 7 years ago, guys. The 2012 season was the season with Adrian Peterson rushing for 2,000 yards. That was only 7 seasons ago, and they're still in the Metrodome.
The year Ponder led us to this playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, thank God. Damn it. I don't want to talk about Christian Ponder today. But you think about that. You made a plan to go forward and really take an investment to progress and get things done for the future. And it's paying off for what you just said. A lot of people want to come in. We landed a big free agent, big name quarterback because I think a lot that had to do with it was that stadium being built and the atmosphere, and that attracted what would be the head coach. Is like, oh shit, I'll play a year I'll play a year outside at the college stadium because we're going to have the best stadium in football next year. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll still be here for that. It's become like a magnet for all these people to come in. It's really cool.
It is a little sad, though, when you see the Vikings spend money on a player like Sheldon Richardson. He's a great player. They only got him for 1 year, and they paid him quite a bit, but it was a year where it didn't quite pay off. And in hindsight, That move looks a little silly now, but at the time, Minnesota was all in on getting that big win,
Sure. Yeah, and I think that speaks to another point of you can have a super talented roster, but if there's some coaching, I'm sure there was a lot of animosity that the fans will never know about because they kept
There are teams that don't want to go to the Jets because of the coaching staff. There's players that don't want to go there.
Anthony Barr.
There was another example of that recently. Jeff Badet. The Jets wanted to sign him, and he told them no, he's staying in Minnesota, and Minnesota gave him a little bit of extra money.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not like it's a new situation. It's just teams have that air about them, that feeling about the franchise, and Minnesota has turned that around for a while. For a little bit, it seemed like Minnesota players were getting arrested nonstop. The coaching carousel, they couldn't hold a quarterback, and there seems to be a lot more stability now, and that's helping the team a lot.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Zimmer going into season 6. Hopefully 6 to 7, 8 more. And I'm hoping, man, everything seems to be in line. Even when it's been bad, it hasn't been that bad. I think what's the worst season we've had here? 7-9? The first year he was here.
Yeah, I think that's the only losing season he's had, right?
Oh, that's very true. We missed playoffs in some, but every year minus the very first year he was here was a winning year. So that's a good point. All right, let's jump into some rumor talk and move along with these quick hits. Vikings assigned former Rutgers cornerback Isaiah Wharton, a 6'1", 203-pound player, started all 48 games in his career, 4 interceptions and 32 pass breakups.
Now, this is something I haven't seen, so I know nothing about.
This is a Kyle West quick hit right here.
Yeah, I dug that one up today. That was the one signing after the rookie mini camp of all the players that they brought in. So it hasn't been confirmed by Minnesota or anything, because from what I read, they had 89 total players. You can bring 90, so they had like one roster spot open, and this was the guy they signed to hit the 90 to bring into like training camp and stuff. So,
yeah, I suppose they probably won't be able to sign Austin Cutting, huh?
Yeah.
Or will he still sign a contract? And I don't know. I was getting into it on Twitter about Austin Cutting, and it's a confusing situation.
Yeah, I don't quite know how that's going to work out.
5 hours ago from the Daily Norseman. So following camp, Vikings signed Rutgers cornerback Isaiah Wharton following the tryout. So confirmed.
There you go.
Nice little. Thanks for adding that in there. So
Of course, Mike Zimmer is going to out of how many players did we say that were fighting for the roster spot? Of course, Mike Zimmer is going to fucking sign the corner. What did you guys think?
a DB signs with the Vikings. Shocking.
Yeah, groundbreaking news right there.
Okay, this is just baffling to me because I was gonna say something really messed up here, but I'm not going to because I have to keep it somewhat PG. Holy crap! Former Vikings head coach Brad Childress is still employed in the NFL. He joined the Chicago Bears as a senior offensive assistant. What?
I don't know how he can keep getting jobs. I don't get it. I know he wanted to do something after the AAF folded, and I'll blame that on Childress too.
Sure, why not? I'm okay with that.
But yeah, he can't hold a job as a positional coach. He can't really be an assistant. So they bring him on in these specialized roles that make up jobs for him. And I'm starting to think that it's more of like a show of respect, maybe they owe him a favor. I don't know.
I don't know. How do I get a job, a made up job at some place like that? Like I want to go somewhere.
You'd have to coach someone like Brett Favre and get to the NFC Championship game.
Because senior offensive assistant is not a thing.
No.
That's not a thing.
You guys filibuster. I'm going to dig around and see what this dude has made.
I'm really curious. I mean, sure, he's earned some cred for his history back before he started jumping around the league, but I'm just not really sure what his current credentials are that make a team interested in bringing him on. The NFL changes so much over the years that the way he used to run a team, especially offensively,
it's just
doesn't match anymore.
He's a millionaire, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Remember
net worth, and this is from networthpost.org. I can't believe I just shouted that out for citing, but $1.7 million. And what has he done in the last 10 years?
That will buy you a lot of Pringles.
What? That's got to. Adam had it on it. It's got to be a sign of respect.
It's got to be. Because I'm not sure what it is anymore.
I've got something for these nerds at Harvard and all those guys. I say nerds like it's a fucking prestigious university. All the numbers nerds out there, as I make myself look ignorant as shit, making fun of Harvard. Let's get the numbers guys and the algorithm guys to figure out what if they could do a deep. I'm sure it only take like a weekend for somebody who really likes sports and has this kind of like Rain Man-esque memory to figure it out. But a lot of these guys that we're talking about, Chile, they go around and they find teams and they just keep bouncing. What coaching combinations have appeared in multiple either Super Bowl appearances and or wins? Because it's a lot of the same dudes. They just go like Wade Phillips. That dude's been a part of so many damn good defenses.
Yeah,
been a part of so many Super Bowls. He's won rings. You know when he comes to the team, it's going to be really good. On the opposite end, Brad Childress, is probably not going to do shit, and you're going to pay him for nothing. So I would like to see the formula for that and put names as to where, man, if we sign this guy, our blank will improve this much according to this thing. Is that a thing? Do you think they do that already?
Remember when he was the spread offense coordinator for the Chiefs?
Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
The spread game coordinator or some shit like that?
Spread game management or coordinator or some total bullshit made up thing. Like that's not a real position.
And that was with Andy Reid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you need him? You have to take Andy Reid.
What was the position that Leslie Frazier made up for Mike Singletary?
Oh, he was just an assistant to the head coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, there was something after that. He was like special assistant to the head coach, and
we make fun of all this as we have Gary Kubiak on the team as like an offensive advisor or some shit.
Yeah, but Kubiak has success. He's got a track record of complete success.
He's a Super Bowl winner, but I thought it was funny because we're over here making fun of these positions that don't make any sense. I'm like, what do these really mean? What can we break these down?
If you're going to make up a position, give it to somebody who can help the team.
Yeah.
I love that we've been talking about Brad Childress for the last 8 minutes. Welcome to the Purple People Podcast, everybody.
Oh, God. Remember those episodes, Adam, where we would just sit here and be like, what does Mike Singletary do for this team?
I remember that because we did it quite often, and I still don't know.
That was the Leslie Frazier era. Let me do some Googling. And I'll let you guys take over for the main topic because it's a Laquon Treadwell show, which is sad.
Oh, it's too. Where's Dorian when we meet him?
I know, right?
We know how much Dorian loves talking about Laquon Treadwell. Well, basically, the Vikings are, surprise, surprise, not going to pick up the 5th-year contract for Laquon Treadwell. They don't want that option. So it's put up or shut up time for him. I don't know how much of an opportunity he's going to get because I don't think the Vikings want to continue to waste opportunities with him on the field. I really don't know how much we're going to see of Laquon Treadwell in 2019, to be perfectly honest.
The more I think about Laquon Treadwell, the more kind of disappointed I am because I was really hoping that he could be a compliment. And now I'm seeing so many undrafted free agent wide receivers come in, and they seem to be able to contribute more, more explosively. Or even a guy that picked up off the street last year in the middle of the season was able to come in and perform pretty well. I don't know. They can't afford to pay him the 5th-year option because giving him $8-9 million don't make sense.
Stupid. Yeah, that's a stupid move.
You can't do that. So if the team does want him to stick around, which they might, I don't know. I don't know what they see in him. Whether they see. Okay, let's play a little game here.
Okay.
What kind of season would it take Laquon Treadwell in 2019 for him to persuade the Minnesota Vikings to give him an extension?
Randy Moss's rookie season numbers.
Even if that happened, it would still be a flash in the pan for me. I'd New England the shit out of his ass and be like, "Hey, thanks for the one good season out of the last 5. Bye."
Yeah, no shit. I don't think there's no scenario. There's no scenario where they keep him. I just don't see it.
Can we say now because they're going to have to make cuts to the 53? it's inevitable, and I heard this. I think it might have been Chris Sims. I love all these podcasts, man. I was listening to something about it, but if you're inevitable, and Laquon was a topic coming up, if they decline your 5th-year option, that's pretty much inevitable. Saying, hey, we don't want anything to do with you going forward. Hey, we might not want anything to do with you now. Is there what percentage chance? I'm going with like 30 to 40 that he doesn't make the roster this year.
8.
I'd say, I don't know, 20, 25. Mike Zimmer's got some big fucking balls. And if you don't think this guy can help the team, he's not going to be on the roster. I don't know. It depends how much they value him in the run game and how much they think he can help with run support. I don't know, though.
I don't see him going anywhere. I mean, his entire salary for this season is guaranteed. If they cut him, they're not going to gain any money. They are going to have to really believe in one of the younger guys to boot him out.
Sure.
I'd feel more comfortable with 30, but I just don't feel – there's just nothing there. And I get it. You know, you have money tied into the guy, blah, blah, blah. But all you got to do is say, hey, man, we're going to eat this dead money. Go find a home somewhere else because we like another guy. And I like a bunch of the guys. I liked a guy that I wish we could keep instead of him last year that caught more touchdowns than I think Laquon had his whole career in Minnesota. And
I really wanted Aldrich to come back too. And I don't even think he's signed anywhere else. I think he's still a free agent.
He's a free agent at the moment, which is really sad because he's a hell of a number 3 option. He fit right in where Jarius.
How much he wanted to be here too, which I think that's not said enough as players. Is yeah, I had a great time in Minnesota. I would love to come back. That kind of stuff is just, it's great to hear as a fan.
You know what sucks about Laquon is, like, we make fun of him a lot, but he does seem like a good kid, and you hear reports of like, oh, he stays after practice, he's running up and down steps, like he's working. It would be easier to be like, fuck this guy, if he was out getting in trouble and partying and doing all this shit, but he's not doing that. It just hasn't clicked for him on the field, and so you put everything else aside for a minute, I feel bad for the kid.
There's been that hype the last 2 seasons beforehand that, Laquon Treadwell's been working on his route running. He's been working on his explosiveness out of cuts. He's been on the beach trying to get his footwork right. And it's like, okay, cool. I love seeing the effort. And then you got beat reporters out there saying, oh, he's looking so good. And then the season rolls out and you're seeing the same thing. And I don't know if he's learning or if he's just, once he gets out there, instincts take over, because there are those instinctive players in college who are able to succeed based on their own thing. And the Vikings, you aren't going to succeed out there doing your own thing or doing what's familiar. You've got to do what the team wants you to do.
Well,
it's not even that.
Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say they gave him a lot of opportunities to succeed. I mean, you look at that Green Bay game last season where he kept dropping the football, and they didn't pull him right away, and Cousins kept trusting him when he was open and throwing him the ball. It's like they're giving him chances to succeed.
I think the biggest thing that Adam hit on earlier was everything that the kid brought, all jokes aside. We said it when it comes to the scandal with AEP, or even a guy that comes in for 1 year that we're really hyped about, like Sheldon Richardson, to anybody and everybody in between, even with the kicker we drafted last year, Blair Walsh, dude, we'll tell you straight up, like, we wish you well. It's all jokes aside. Like, you got to keep it classy and keep the best of intentions. But all that stuff you mentioned, like footwork, route running, blah, blah, I just want him to catch the damn ball. He has so many drop passes, and I can't, for the life of me, I just don't understand. Like, and I don't care that there's a tie to it. Like, give that spot to somebody who, and maybe I'm just too simple. I didn't play football. I'm not a coach. I'm a coach. But just give that spot to somebody who's going to catch and hang on to the damn ball. That's
the big stage of the NFL is too much for a lot of players, and they just can't do it. And I'm wondering if the NFL is just kind of too big for him. If he gets too nervous out there, if concentration breaks, because a lot of the mistakes that he has on the football field seem to be concentration oriented.
Oh, for sure.
When my friend Mike and I got to tour US Bank Stadium before it opened, and we're standing in the middle of the field on the logo, and you're like looking up at how fucking huge this is. We both laughed, and we were like, man, and it's no wonder that Christian Ponder like shit his pants. Like, could you imagine playing with all these? Like, that would be terrifying.
It
Like,
would.
I get it. Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Smith, you've taken the stage at concerts for, hundreds of people, right?
Thousands. I played for up to 2,000 people before, and there's times when you walk out and I forget the words of songs I've sang no less than 100 times because you're like, holy crap, everybody's staring at me. And you got to add,
Adam,
you got to add with these guys
what's
too.
the capacity for US Bank Stadium?
What's that?
What's the capacity for US Bank Stadium?
Is it 63?
I'll Google it.
Yeah,
I did find out your Mike Singletary question earlier, but I'll Google the capacity at US Bank Stadium. Yeah, but like I was saying before to my stuff about my point of being in front of people.
66 after the extension's okay.
Yep, 66,655. That's awesome. So when you think about that too, you have the added pressure of like Adam mentioned that I do music on the side. I'm just playing for people that are just happen to be strolling by and want to have a drink and listen to live music. You got to think about like last year. You're like, oh shit, I'm gonna be on SC not top 10 because I dropped this pass or I got burned on this route that I was supposed to cover somebody or blah 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 because you have that factor of how many other million people are gonna watch this game that week. That's a lot of pressure, man.
Michael Cambria in the chat wants to know if you have a spot for Laquon Treadwell in your band.
Yeah, he can play the triangle as long as he doesn't drop it.
The cowbell?
I can't. I can't make fun of the guy. No, man. Like,
we all root for Vikings to succeed while they're here, and
yeah,
I want to see Treadwell come out and prove everybody wrong. Have a great season. If he stays in Minnesota, great. If he moves on, best of luck to him. I know that seems kind of politically correct way to say all that, but it's how I truly feel. I don't want to see people fail unless I know they're bad people, and I don't think Laquon Treadwell's bad people.
Oh, not at all.
I don't think so either. This comes back to kind of what I think about drafting a wide receiver, and this is just my idiot opinion. What do I know? I don't know shit. But if it's either to draft a receiver, I think it has to be like a top 5. If you don't view them as like a top 5 talent, why are you taking a receiver in the first round? Like, it has to be that top 5, that Julio Jones, that AJ Green, game-changing fucking receiver in the first round. Otherwise, give me what round was Stephon Diggs in? 3rd, 4th round receiver? 5, 5th round? Give me those late round receivers. Like, there's no, you get to that kind of like middle ground and you get Laquon Treadwell, and it's like, fuck them. You don't need that. I either want that top 5 guy or Stephon Diggs, because you can work with Diggs.
There are a lot of things to really love about the measurables for Laquon Treadwell. He's got size, he's got some good reach, but after that, there are some question marks, and I was hoping the Vikings would be able to clear that up because Minnesota has some of the best route running wide receivers in the NFL.
Adam Thielen makes a career off running crisp routes.
You can tell too that Kirk Cousins expects his receivers to know where to be because of that one time on the sideline when you saw him laying into Adam Thielen about cutting the wrong way. And that clip gets shown a lot because it's like, oh, is there turmoil? No, it's just Adam Thielen is so good that Kirk Cousins expects him to be where he's going to be. Now, when Adam Thielen gets bumped off a route, and he's not there, I understand being mad about it.
I still think too much. I still think the media made too much of that clip. Like, they made too big of a deal out of it. Like, you've never seen Tom Brady yell at a receiver for not being in the right spot. Yeah.
Yeah, if we'd have won that game, none of that would have mattered.
No. No, it's not like the two guys are gonna hold a grudge forever. It's neither of those guys are that way.
It's the heat of the moment and being on the field. Like,
It's sports. It's professional
Yeah.
sports. Of course you're gonna.
right.
Who watched
Exactly.
Who watched the finals last year? I think it was Game 1 or whatever. LeBron was yelling at J.R. Smith because he didn't inbound the ball correctly or something. Like,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He's gonna get his ass for that because it's professional sports, man.
Yeah.
True.
All right, here's the breaking news that I know you guys have been waiting this whole show since we brought it up. Mike Singletary was the special assistant to the head coach and the linebackers coach from 2011 to 2013.
There you have it. Made up positions.
Special assistant to the coach.
I don't even know what that means. What does that even mean?
That means I got my friend a job. That means I got my friend a job, and on the little label maker, we're gonna make up this job title for your name tag.
Do you think he had like an office that he went to? Like,
He had a huge office for no reason.
Man, I want one of those jobs. Someone give me a job. Someone give me a made-up job.
Okay, I got a great one. We were talking about social media influencers earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, just start a GoFundMe page about and just make up some bullshit in the thing, and people will give you money. It's crazy.
Okay.
Then you just tell everyone you're on a journey to influence the world.
It's ridiculous.
There you go.
I could always be an Instagram model. They make pretty good money.
You have to show your butt though. So if you're comfortable with that.
No one wants that.
No, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure there's some weird people out there. They definitely want that.
If we're making up titles, special assistant to Chris Tomlinson of the Pioneer Press.
Oh man.
You just have a T-shirt and be like, if you hate that guy, don't fucking talk to me. I love how much Mike Zimmer hates him. It just makes my day so much better.
Oh, I know. I was watching like Zimmer's first press conference, and it was great. You could tell he was kind of a little happy to be there because it was the first one.
Straight up dick to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and then here comes Chris, and it's like just right away, like he hates him so much. I enjoyed the dynamic between those two.
I actually heard that we have a social media question this week.
Question mark?
What?
I am running.
Somehow, some way, we have one.
Okay.
Let me pull it up on my phone.
I'll let Kyle pull this one up.
So I asked you
don't
guys.
even know what it is.
I asked you guys at home that of the 12 players that the Vikings selected, which one are you most excited to see play on the field this year? I'm not going to run through all 12 because I don't feel like doing that. You guys know who we drafted. So we got some good answers on here. Of course, I asked for one, and Craig Morley is going to give us 4 players that he is excited for.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Bradbury, of course, we all want to see him. He's our first round pick. I think everyone is excited to see him play. We got some love for Herb Smith, Madison, and how do you pronounce it? Is it Samia?
Drew Samia?
Yeah, Samia. He said, I know that's 4, not 1, but they are the ones likely to have an immediate impact. If I had to pick one...
Excited to watch Bradbury is a freaking liar. Nobody watches the offensive line during games unless you're picking it apart for grading or something like that. The only time you'll be watching him is on a replay if he messes up because that's how offensive line works.
Adam,
right?
The absolute truth.
Mark Anderson said, as the former O lineman, I'm excited to watch Samina crack the starting lineup. He looks nasty, and I think he could be a starter this season.
He's got a tough position right now. Josh Klein, I think the Vikings really want to start him, and Pat Elflein on the other side for guard, so he's going to have to beat out one of those guys. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be a challenge.
Definitely. A lot of love for Samina. We got another comment about him. It said, it looks like he's got what it takes to give the O-line a much-needed kick in the ass. That's a good comment, too.
Yeah.
And then our last comment just says, Irv. Just Irv.
The yards after catch for Irv is what's going to be interesting to see because Minnesota isn't really known for their tight ends gaining a lot of yards after the catch. Kyle Rudolph not known for slipping tackles, and the other tight ends, especially Tyler Conklin, didn't get a lot done during last season. So, and David Morgan doesn't get the ball thrown to him enough. He can make things happen, but who can complain when the ball's getting thrown to Diggs or Thielen? You know, why check down if you can throw the ball down the field?
Fair enough. Point.
But if you've watched a lot of Irv Smith Jr.'s game tape, you'll see him be able to really just make players miss and gain some extra yardage on so many special occasions. And that's what made him so special as a college player, and that should translate pretty well over to the NFL.
Well, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We've only had rookie minicamp here, but Irv Smith is one that Mike Zimmer name-checked during his press conference for being like, here's a guy that you see him on tape. Well, here's a guy. Zimmer was basically like, you see him on tape, and then you see him in person, and you're even more impressed by him in person. So he seems to be off to a good start.
Now, I know I address this every time we talk about Irv Smith Jr., but yes, he is 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
That is small for a tight end. Most tight ends are usually a little larger. That said, don't worry about his height. Don't worry about it. Just think of him as a wide receiver who can block a little bit, and he has good hands. He can pick up yards after the catch. If it's a blocking situation, you probably might not see him out there on the start doing some kind of fake. So all I'm saying is if you're expecting him to be a major part of running formations like Kleinsasser was, he's not that tight end. That's not this guy.
Ha! Here's a fun reference for you. Remember Jermaine Wiggins? He was 6'2". 6'2".
And so Wiggins found success.
Yeah. He had a decent little career for Minnesota.
He did.
You know who else is on the team that's 6'2"?
Who?
Laquon Treadwell. So just think of him as a Laquon Treadwell that'll actually catch the ball and run after he catches it.
And that's why I completely expect Minnesota to keep all 4 tight ends this season. I do, though David Morgan's contract is going to be up. Kyle Rudolph's contract is going to be up. This was a pick based on the future. They don't think they're going to be able to bring both those guys back, and they probably won't. David Morgan's going to make more money than fans think that he probably should because of his blocking and ability to catch the ball. Kyle Rudolph, unless he takes a hometown discount, he won't be sticking around. This was a pick for the future, and it should save some money on the salary cap down the road. But at the time, it looks like it's not a massive need. But the fact that we're able to lock down a player at the position for the next 4 years on a rookie salary should help the money situation pretty well.
Yeah, I agree.
We asked everyone in that social media question, who are you guys? You have to pick one you're like the most excited about. I'm going with who Adam said earlier. I cannot wait to watch Madison just plow through some people.
That's absolutely who I picked. I know that running back is the situation's going to get a lot of love because it's one of the first skill position players that were taken by Minnesota. Irv Smith's going to get a significant amount of playing time. Madison might not get as much as him, but I think that when Madison gets the ball, he'll make the most of every opportunity he gets, and that's what I really want to see.
You're going to see him a handful of times every game. You know, Dalvin Cook's got to have a rest, so I'm anxious to see what he does in that relief down or that relief, couple of plays where he's in and he's just going to run people just over. I'm so excited to watch this kid.
For the way the Vikings have struggled with the run game, they're gonna go with the hot hand. So if this kid gets on a hot streak, I think they keep playing him. Like, I don't think the Vikings have we all love Dalvin Cook, but I don't think Mike Zimmer is gonna just, Dalvin's our guy and we're just gonna play him even if he's not playing well. Like, he wants to run the ball, and so whoever does it best, I think, is gonna get the touches.
That's one curious thing is what that split is going to be. And as someone who plays fantasy football religiously, it puts Dalvin Cook in a weird situation where you don't really know what to fully expect from him, because Madison ran the ball so many times in college. What they would do is they would run him 25, 30 times a game and just pound through people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the Vikings' plan is with him, but they know they can work him hard and that he will get those yards. So the split that they're going to come up with should be a more balanced one to keep Cook on the field and healthy. So I expect Cook to see the field a lot less than he usually did, even with Latavius Murray.
I kind of agree with you, Adam.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a 15-15, you know. Who says we're going to run the ball 30 times every game? From what we see on paper, that it would lean closer to that, definitely versus last year, but I'd be okay with that. 15-15, put them in for, like you said, for whoever's got the hot hand or whoever lines up best in the scheme for whatever defense that week. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Cook's got some soreness in his knee this week. That's okay. Let him get a little bit of extra rest. Madison can plow through people. And that's one of the things is I'm honestly, I'm not trying to say that he's ready to be a starting NFL running back, but Madison has shown the skills to be a very effective player, even in large doses instead of small. I like Latavius Murray. I would have trusted Latavius Murray to play an entire game as a feature back when Cook went out. But he didn't have the kind of power durability that Madison has. And I think that Madison would be able to wear down defenses a little bit better. So I'm not trying to wish an injury on Dalvin Cook or anything. Don't get me wrong. But all I'm saying is that if a situation comes up where Cook can't come in the lineup, I feel fine with them pounding the ball with him, maybe switching in Boone a little bit in a nice little relaxed role, which is where I think Boone is best used. And this running back situation that I was worried about heading into the draft, I think they fixed it pretty well.
Yeah. Also, you got CJ Ham. I know he's a fullback, but he's sneaky. You can get him some touches.
That's a good point.
Yep. You can run him. You can sneak him out and dump him a pass off every now and then. So, yeah, I actually do like the Vikings running back situation. It's weird because we spent all that time with Adrian Peterson where you just knew it was Adrian. He was your running back. There was no question that it was Adrian. And the Vikings are in a different situation now where it's like, well, Cook is really good and these other guys are pretty good too. And they all kind of do different things and you don't quite know how they're going to mix and match. When before it was like, just give it to Adrian, just give it to 28 and let 28 pound it because you know you're going to get it done. It's just a different setup.
The situation behind your bell cow back is weird though, because we got to see firsthand what happened for the Rams when Todd Gurley went down. They were not the same team. They did not have enough just ready to go. And I think that the way teams gravitated towards a 1A and 1B, or whether it's an A or a B or whatever you want to call it, having that punch available, at least two capable running backs, is the NFL format now for success. The days of the bell cow running back are just kind of fading away, and the 1-2 punch is where it's at. And I think the 1-2 punch the Vikings have in place is pretty good. If one of those two guys can't go, I think they've got a decent enough guy to fill in, and the fullback situation's good. I like it. I like it a lot. And the changes this team made on offense with the new blocking scheme, the new offensive coordinator, while keeping so many talented players, I think that the offense shouldn't have a whole lot of excuses to struggle to move the ball, and I'm waiting to see if they can actually execute these plays on the field.
Guys, what if this is the year that it finally actually happened? Could you imagine? I thought about this for the longest of times. I just want to think about that first podcast after if the Vikings won the Super Bowl. Do you know how obnoxious I would never be able to listen to myself? I never do listen to myself on these shows anyways. But what if all this stuff finally came together? The defense is lights out like it was 2 years ago, and we got the lineup, and Kirk throws a shitload of touchdowns, and it just finally happens. The thing that's never going to happen, we all know, because God hate this, is it finally happens. Can you imagine how obnoxious this show is going to be? You guys are going to fire me after that show.
Well, I'll be fucking drunk for it. At least I will be.
It's just an hour and a half of Ric Flair woos the whole time.
Just 2 hours of us all going, woo!
I don't show a ton of emotion, but I would bawl like a little schoolgirl if the Vikings won the Super Bowl. I'd be crying just so heavy. Heck, when the Vikings were so close with the year against the Saints with Bonygate, and I thought the Vikings were going to have a chance of going to the Super Bowl, I was starting to tear up right there. So,
we've talked about it, but I was so pissed off when it looked like we had lost that Saints game. And the minute the miracle play I was sitting there so pissed off, like we had blown another season. And then Diggs made that catch. And it was just like, oh my, you could like cry in that moment. And then of course the Vikings do what the Vikings do best. And they let you down the following week. But like in that moment when Diggs made that catch, it was like,
good.
You just don't even know how to put it into words what that feeling was like.
I remember that too. That's funny you brought that up. I just looked at all my friends because all my friends are laughing at this point. Like, dude, you guys did it again. I'm like, this is what we do.
Andrew Lehela in the chat wants to know how many primetime games are the Vikings going to have to win this year to get to the Super Bowl?
All of them would be beneficial. So I don't know. How many do we have?
We have 5 primetime games. It really depends on the schedule, honestly. And this is just me giving you a generic, basic football answer. I could give a shit what the record is like. I just want us to win the division. That's all I care about. Win the division.
You win that division, you're guaranteed your playoff spot.
Yeah, just get in the playoffs. Who gives a damn?
Yeah, but the Achilles heel of this team for so long is that we fuck up in primetime games and like when the pressure's on. So they've got to learn to win when everyone is watching. I feel like we win when it's a 12 o'clock noon game that us 3 are the only 3 watching because we got to stream it online, and then we get Monday Night Football and we get blown out. I hate that. So they have to win when the pressure is on.
They got to play clutch when clutch moments happen.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think as long as they can get a better percentage of those primetime games, I think they can win 3 of those 5. That's a step in the right direction. But of course, you want to aim for 5. So I think they pick up 3 of those. I think if you can end the season with, I think 11 wins and then probably a tiebreaker is what's going to happen with the NFC North this year. Just because of the level of competition within the division and the tough schedules that the teams have. So, I think the NFC North can be won by 11 wins this year.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's not because the division sucks. It's because it's the competition within the division and the teams that the Vikings have faced this year. It's going to be rough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not everybody, especially in the media, not everybody's as high on the Vikings. They liked our draft, but they do think that it's Chicago or Green Bay's division to battle for. I've said plenty of times in recent weeks, I think it's going to be between us and Green Bay. I think Chicago is going to take a step back. Green Bay's made a lot of sneaky good moves. It's just as much as I hate this, it's kind of like, you think about Batman and the Joker, like you kind of need that person you hate so much, depending on which side you are, because you need them. I've never seen Aaron Rodgers have 2 back-to-back bad years. It's just never happened. So I expect him to come out and be a pain in the ass in full force like he used to be. So I don't know. I think you're right. 11 wins could probably seal up this division.
It'll be interesting to see Aaron Rodgers with a new head coach and like a new kind of philosophy around him. Because we really don't know what that means because we've never seen that before. So
I don't buy the new head coach that you're talking about, Kyle, for half a second. This is LeBron James coaching the damn team and making all of the shots. This guy's a young guy. Aaron Rodgers is going out there saying, hey, look, it's just like Favre walking in with Brad Childress. Like, hey, look, I know you went to the playoffs one time, but let me run the shit. It's exactly how it's going to work. Because you're not going to piss that guy off. You're not going to say, well, Aaron, let's give the coach a chance. And be like, I'm Aaron fucking Rodgers. Tell him to step out of the way and let me do this thing. Like,
right?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers has that coaching staff there that I think now is just going to listen to every single word he has to say, and that's that. And all the problems that franchise had that were kind of trickling out over the past couple months, just it made it seem like there was so much dysfunction there.
It had to have been. And then the former, Packer players coming out and talking shit about him on all kinds of like sports shows. You're like,
yeah, didn't Greg Jennings do something like that?
Yeah,
he's really one of the guys that have adamantly came out and said he's not a good leader, he's not a good teammate, blah blah blah, which is crazy. I was really sad to see Mike McCarthy leave because we were starting to figure out that whole team and like, hey, you remember when Green Bay was such a hard thing? Like, I look forward to playing the Packers every year.
They got rid of their defensive coordinator who was bad. They got a new GM who can draft and got a new head coach that's going to play to his quarterback strengths. Green Bay is going to be a little bit different of a team. They're going to be tougher.
Yeah.
Do you think Chicago is going to take a step back a little bit?
I think it's just like with the Vikings 2 years ago. Like we come out, we have 13 wins in a 16-game season. They have this great coach and they have this great elite talent on defense. They got a lot of good stuff going on, but they lost their defensive coordinator, which is fucking huge. And I to be honest, man, like I like the guy because he went to college in my state that I love so much and my favorite college team. I don't believe in Mitch Trubisky, man. I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and like, oh, I'm going to look left, but I'm going to throw right.
Chicago runs so many trick plays.
I don't believe in that shit lasting that long. You know what I mean? And they don't have a home run hitter.
I follow.
There's a year's worth of tape out there on that. They lost a running back. The Bears, they might have a little bit of trouble, but they're not going to suck. They are definitely not going to suck.
Not at all, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they finished third in the division this year.
They're definitely going to be competitive.
Yeah.
They're a team that's going to have a winning record.
And Detroit's Detroit. Who gives a shit what they do? They're still Detroit.
I mean, they got a really good tight end in the draft, and they're picking up all these.
Yeah, they did.
Really good. But it's Detroit. I really don't know what else to say.
I still feel so bad for
those
players who go to Detroit. So many players just careers wasted.
No, you know what I want to feel bad at them, but then I think about those guys that can roll around in a bed full of money when they get home, and I don't feel so bad for them, even if your bed's located in Detroit.
And then you got Matt Stafford dealing with all the stuff in his personal life right now, and then he's got the weight of the team on his shoulders too. It's got to feel like so much.
There was issues with his wife, correct?
Yeah.
That's no joke. That's really sad to see.
So I'm hoping that he can come back and do well, but just not well enough that that the Lions take the division or something.
Not that well.
Not that well.
He can beat Green Bay twice. That'd be okay.
That would be
still
fine.
shocking to me that the Lions have never been to a Super Bowl. It still baffles me. I get if you haven't won one, but never been there. Come on, silly.
I think that's it, guys. Is that all we have for the week? Do we miss anything?
I think so.
That's everything I have.
That's a good little segue to the end. Like we got to round out the entire division and talk a little bit about
the division a little bit. Yeah.
I love that, man. This is one of the reasons I love this podcast. We have like such different personalities, but I love to. I don't want to say like flex the NFL knowledge, but it's nice to know more than just like, oh my God, I really like Stephon Diggs. He's really good. Like, yeah, we get that, man. Let's talk about the dynamic of what this division is. I said it last week. I think this is going to be the best division in football, and we have the Lions in the division. That should tell you how good the other three teams are. But
Andrew Lahela makes a good point in the chat. He says, as long as Golden Tate isn't on Stafford's team, we can beat them. And he seemed like a Vikings killer, man.
Oh man, he made Xavier Rhodes look kind of silly sometimes. And it was usually in Minnesota. And the other guy I don't like is Darius Slay, man. He comes up with some timely fucking interceptions. Not a fan of that guy.
Big play Slay.
Yeah, dude, he's a really good player.
But yeah, that's all I have for this week. I do want to thank those who joined us in the chat. It was great having you here. I also want to thank those who take the time to interact with us on social media. We are on the Facebook. I think we tweet sometimes. I don't know. We might have an Instagram account that stuff might go on. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we do have our shows up on iTunes and Podomatic and Stitcher and Google Podcasts, and wherever you find podcasts, you'll probably find us. If not, check somewhere else. We might be there.
You can call us on the phone. We'll do a podcast with you.
That'll be our next prize for the Survival League winner. One-on-one phone call from Kyle West.
Yeah, here you go.
That's the job that you needed, man. This came full circle.
Yeah, there you go. There's my made-up title.
Now, I do want to plug my article that I've got coming out tomorrow morning because I will be breaking down each of the Vikings draft picks and talking about them a little bit. And I know it's been a little while, but I'm going to grade each one. And I know draft grading is silly because they haven't played a single snap, but I'm doing it based on their fit for the team, the production, and how I feel they will fit on the roster. So that's the way I'm doing it. I'm not going to try to predict stats or anything like that, but I'm just talking about the fit with the team and whether or not I think they're going to produce. So keep an eye out for that article in the morning over on the Viking Age.
This is the article that you guys didn't know that you needed, but you should check it out.
The reason why it's kind of late is because I wanted to make sure that I watched tape on each one of these guys. And I know that I would have gotten a lot more views if I'd have put the article out immediately after and probably guessed and BS'd my way through some things, but that's not the way I think that it should be done.
Damn you and your integrity, Adam.
I know, right? I want to take some time and do it right.
We don't do that here.
I'm not going to make it on some of them other pages, I tell you.
That's true.
But there's a lot of other great content over on the Viking Age where you can download the app. You can go to thevikingage.com and read up on all that. I do want to add, though, too, for those that have been following my work over on Undead Walking, yes, it is true. I have stepped down as the site expert on Undead Walking, but I have stayed on as a contributor where I'm going to keep talking about the comics as well as the Walking Dead shows. So feel free to keep checking out work over there. I'll still be doing some work as well. I just won't be on there as much. But that does give me more time to focus a little bit more on the socials for the Viking Age, as well as putting more articles out there over on the Vikings. So I think it's the right move for me. I think it's the right move for both sites. We brought in a new expert over on Undead Walking, Denise Caputo, formerly of FanFest. So there's another voice over there to add. So if you're a fan of The Walk Dead, make sure to keep a good look on Undead Walking. Otherwise, those of you who love the Minnesota Vikings, I can't express how much I appreciate those of you who take the time to check out my work over there on the Viking Age. You guys got anything you want to plug?
Not today, I think. I don't. Smith, go for it.
I should have kept my shirt on from earlier today that I worked in, but I was very sweaty and needed a shower. Yeah, if you guys would, just because I love this little internship that I'm at, it's coming to an end this month, and I'll be traveling once again. If you guys have followed the show for a long time, you guys know I'm usually in a new spot, at least every show or every other show. I'm in a different place. But I've been working with NC Canine LLC over in the eastern part of North Carolina. I've been training police dogs. If everybody that's watching the show now, if you have an Instagram, it's at NC Canine LLC, or same thing for Facebook. If you could go give them a follow and a like, I'd really, really appreciate it. I've had a great time over here learning how to train dogs from scratch for police dogs. It's just a lot of cool stuff. It's a canine site, and it's what I do to make money. So if I could pump those numbers up for my boss at the moment, he would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely. And Mr. Kyle West, you just did another podcast on a movie, right?
Yeah, me and Jeff over on the Shut Up I Like This Movie podcast page. You can find us over on YouTube, which you were on right now. We just did an interesting found footage movie called The Gracefield Incident, which you've probably not heard of, but it's over on Tubi TV. That's like a free app you can watch on your computer, or like the PS4 or the Xbox or whatever. So if you like found footage films, check out The Gracefield Incident. And our podcast will be up next Monday, I believe, is when Jeff is going to post that one. Otherwise,
there's time to watch the movie now and check out the podcast later.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We tweeted the guy, the director, because we look into this stuff. He's a writer director, and it's the guy's first movie, and so we tweeted him, and he was like really excited that we're going to be doing a podcast about it. So that's always cool when you can like talk to the creators, and they're like excited as well to be like, "You found my shit. That's cool." So
In one of these upcoming weeks, they might be doing Ghost Shark. Who knows?
We're gonna make that.
Yeah, I guess that's all we have. Thanks again, everyone, for everything. And hopefully we'll be back next week to talk more Vikings news and information. And hopefully it'll be all four of us here. I'd like that. So to everyone in the chat and everyone who interacts and shares and likes and subscribes and all that stuff, thanks. And remember to stay classy, Minnesota.